Hello everybody, Cindy here with Monarch Mom DIY. I'm so excited to bring you this video today of these 3 fall DIYs. So let's get crafting. For DIY number 1, we're going to use this wood plaque from Hobby Lobby, a wood crate from Dollar Tree, the blessed word from Hobby Lobby, as well as the scrapbook paper. We're going to make a little flower box type sign, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my painter's tape, and I'm trying to tape off just that middle rectangle. So I'm just going to paint that middle section. It is a little tricky to get the tape right where the beads are, but I'm just going to do my best so that I can paint that inside rectangle with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Agave. So we're just going to give one good coat right in that middle rectangle there, and then we're going to let that dry. I really love turquoise and orange with some antique wax in there for my fall decor, and you'll see at least 2 of the projects in this video will have this color scheme. While that's drying, we'll move to our crate here, and I have this little scrap of this fall colored plaid scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby. I really love it. I'm glad it was just enough to cover the front side of this crate. So I'm just brushing on some Mod Podge, and I'm going to spritz a little bit of water on my paper and then press it down really well on this long side of the crate, pressing it down especially around the edges. And then you're going to see I am going to take my fingernail and kind of indent where those 2 kind of cracks are in the side of the crate. Once that paper is all dry, we're going to take our little sander and just trim the edges off by going in a downward motion with our sandpaper to get that trimmed up and nice finished edges all the way around. Then I'm also going to take the corner of my sander and go in there just on those cracks and just sand that a little bit, give it a little bit of more of a distressed look. Next, I'm going to take that same agave paint and I'm going to paint the 2 short sides and the bottom of our wood crate. I'm not going to paint the back because we're going to be gluing that to our sign. I'm also going to go around the top edge of the crate as well. Now coming back to our plaque, now I'm going to tape off that teal rectangle that we painted because we're going to now use antique wax on the rest of the sign. So once that's taped off, I'm going to take my baby wipe and some of the antique wax, and I'm just going to stain around the edge of the frame and where those beads are kind of raised up in the middle section there. I'm going to go around with a baby wipe and do as much as I can, but then you're going to see I'm going to come back in with a small paintbrush to try to get a little bit more the spaces between all those beads. Again, you could do this dark wax, you could do another color of paint if you'd rather do that. Orange would be really pretty, but we're just going to make this sign the 2 different colors. Once our dark stain is all dry, I'm going to take my little sander again that we've used previously, and with 400 grit sandpaper, I'm just going to smooth out this middle rectangle section. It smooths it out and it also gives it a nice light teal color. I'm also going to take my Mod Podge and go over the scrapbook paper now, just sealing that down, making sure that it's not going to come up off of our crate. Now with this blessed wood word, this one happens to be from Hobby Lobby. I decided to use Pink Sky. I was kind of trying to match those kind of mauve, maroon, red colors in the scrapbook paper. Of course, you could paint yours whichever color you'd like. And we're gonna add this to the top of our little flower box sign once it's dry. Now to start putting our box together, we're going to put hot glue on the unpainted back side of our crate, and we're going to glue this to the bottom of our beaded sign from Hobby Lobby. This is where we're going to put some foam and some florals. We're also going to take our blessed word that we painted with Waverly Pink Sky, and we're going to glue this right up at the top of the beaded sign. Next, adding some hot glue into the crate, we're going to put a couple scrap pieces of floral foam that I had in my stash, just enough for us to be able to add some florals in there. Before I do add the florals, I'm going to take some more hot glue and add in some floral moss to cover up that floral foam. Then the last step is simply to poke into the floral foam any florals that you'd like. Again, if you want to, you could make this exact project, but instead of making it for fall, you could make it for Christmas, you could make it for spring, you could make the colors more neutral, so it's something that you could change out for each season or holiday. And here's our finished DIY number 1. I love this modification on a floral box sign that I've made before in the past. For DIY number 2, we're going to take a really simple wood shape from Dollar Tree, a page from a Dollar Tree calendar, and some orange buttons and jute twine to create a really fun and easy DIY project. So this calendar happens to be from a couple of years ago. I just saw in my store, it is July right now, they have the 2025 calendars out. And fun fact that I did not announce anywhere other than if you're listening and watching this video, if you tell me your favorite month of the year in the comments, I'm going to put your name in to possibly get one of this year's farmers market calendars from Dollar Tree. So again, the way you get entered is just a comment that has the name of your favorite month of the year. Okay, so all I did on the wood is I put some Mod Podge, and then I'm kind of figuring out where I want to place the graphic. I had it a little too high because I forgot. I wanted it down a little further so I can add some buttons there at the top. So I'm going to actually peel it up here and reposition it, which is nice with the Mod Podge. You can do that. And we're going to then, once we get this in place, smooth it all out and let it dry. And once that Mod Podge is dry, just like with our wood crate in DIY number 1, we're going to use that sander in a downward motion, and we're going to clean up the edges of our acorn by sanding off the excess of the calendar page. So in my craft stash, I had this huge bag of orange buttons, all different sizes. I thought, how cute would it be to use these at the top of the acorn as kind of, the cap part of the acorn. So I'm just loosely drawing with a pencil there where I'm going to fill in with the buttons, and then we're just going to put dots of hot glue and glue down some buttons to fill in the cap of our acorn. It was still looking a little plain to me, so I decided to take my Walmart jute twine, and using a bead of hot glue, I'm going to outline the two sides of my acorn with this jute twine. Now I'm just doing a little bit at a time, making sure that it's attached down before I move on to the next section. The other thing you could do with this project that I just thought about, instead of just having it be the acorn shape with the jute twine and the buttons, you could always add this to the front of a canvas, some sort of square or rectangular wood sign, just to elevate it a little bit more. But as you're going to see here, once I get the jute twine all the way around, I am going to wrap the top of the acorn cap with some jute twine as well, and then add a little loop for hanging. And here it is. I love it with the buttons. I like trying different things and adding different textures to my projects. Like I said, you could attach this to the front of a sign. For DIY number 3, we're going to make probably my favorite. We're going to make a fall tray. I was at the hardware store and got this rectangular piece of wood and 2 of these drawer pull handles. And the first thing I'm going to do, this piece of wood is about, I believe it was about 12 inches by 20, something like that. And I'm going to smooth it out really well first. And then I'm going to measure a 2-inch wide strip at the top and a 2-inch wide strip at the bottom. And I'm going to tape those off. So for those top and bottom sections, I'm going to take a baby wipe and my antique wax again, and I'm going to make those 2 stripes with that dark wax. I am also going to do the top and bottom edges of the wood, and then also where those stripes would wrap around the side. And once we're done with that, we're going to peel off the painter's tape and let the antique wax dry completely. Then once the front side was dry, I am going to antique wax the entire back side of this tray, again using the baby wipe method. Now coming back to the front, I'm going to again use my painter's tape. This time I'm going to tape over the dark stained lines that we already painted. So we're going to paint this middle section with that Waverly chalk paint in the color Agave. Once I get that big section in the middle painted, I am also going to go around the side edge and take that agave on the side edge as well. Once all that's dry, I am going to sand the agave. That was an accident to get up there on the dark stain. I am able to get most of that agave out of the antique wax section, but I just wanted to kind of smooth out that middle agave section so that it's nice and smooth for my stencil. Next, I'm going to take this stencil that says "In all things give thanks." This is half of a stencil duo called Change is Beautiful. I'm just going to center this and then press it down really well on the agave section of my tray, making sure all the letters are nice and pressed down so we get a nice crisp stenciled wording of our stencil on our tray. And I chose to use our Magnolia chalk paste in the color Orange Tiger. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I love turquoise and orange together for fall. So I'm just going to apply this chalk paste with this squeegee into the mesh of the stencil. That's everywhere you can see the agave colored paint through the stencil. It is a fine mesh, so it's basically like we are silk screening these words onto our tray. Now just going back over, getting off any excess of the chalk paste and putting it back in the jar. Once we've done that, we will peel and reveal how awesome this stencil did of a job of getting these words onto this tray. Now the last thing I'm going to do is take these two drawer pulls that I had, and I'm going to actually use super glue gel from Dollar Tree. I do show some hot glue here, but I don't like it with the hot glue, so don't do that. It makes it too bumpy. Just use the super glue gel and you'll hold that into place. Obviously, don't try to pick it up by the handles until that super glue gel has had time to cure. But I love this idea. Again, it's one that I'm doing for fall here, but you could take this same idea and make a non-seasonal tray. You could make one for Easter, for Valentine's, for someone's birthday, for Christmas. Really, the possibilities are endless. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. Please give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment or two. Let me know which of these projects was your favorite, and we'll see you next time. Take care.